Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea. I'm Matt Florjancic, and this is episode 8 of the BW Athletics Roadshow. On tonight's program, we're going to look at the week that was. We'll talk with football coach Jim Hilvert, linebacker Dillon O'Donoghue, cross-country star runner Cassie, Kolonchuk, and we'll take a look at the week ahead for the Yellow Jackets. Jumping right in, talking football here. First and foremost, senior All-Ohio Athletic Conference running back John Murray Jr. set the school record for career rushing touchdowns as the Baldwin-Wallace University football team won its fourth straight game and remained undefeated at home with a 35-14 victory over the Otterbein Cardinals on homecoming and community and family day at the Trestle Field inside the George Finney Stadium. BW improved to 5-2 overall and 5-1 in Ohio Athletic Conference play. They are now 40-12-1 in the all-time series with Otterbein, who fell to 2-5 and 1-5 in OAC play. Murray Jr. was named the Frank Rapolo Offensive Player of the Game, and senior All-OAC defensive back Anthony Kendall and junior linebacker Dillon O'Donoghue were selected as the co-defensive players of the game. Offensively, the Yellow Jackets were led by senior quarterback Reese Waymer, who completed 7 of 12 passes for 113 yards with 1 touchdown and an interception. Murray Jr. rushed for a game-high 57 yards on 21 carries and added 2 touchdowns. Senior wide receiver Darius Stokes caught 4 passes for 49 yards with 1 touchdown. Defensively, Kendall recorded 7 tackles with 2 interceptions and 1 pass breakup. O'Donoghue tallied 6 tackles with 1 sack, a fumble recovery, and a pass breakup. Defensively, the Yellow Jackets limited Otterbein junior quarterback Eason Hardwin to 8 of 25 passing for 90 yards with an interception. Right now, we're going to welcome in football coach Jim Hilvert. First and foremost, Coach, thank you for taking the time to join me.
Thank you
Always
very much.
appreciate it.
Having me on.
Congratulations on another victory, the 4th straight for the Yellow Jackets. Starting to find that rhythm overall as a team, right?
Oh, no doubt. First of all, it was a beautiful day. Late October, homecoming. I know there was a lot of people that were nervous about what kind of weather we were going to have because I knew Tuesday was sleeting, snowing, raining, all that kind of stuff. But to have a beautiful day like that on homecoming, to come out and have our second home game in a row in front of a great crowd. What a great crowd we had. Student section, BW alums came out in force. Obviously, the community was there. What a great way to win a game, 35-14 at your homecoming. And to celebrate people coming back to your school.
Yeah, Coach, you're on a 4-game winning streak right now. What's been the key? What's been to your success over this last month?
It's been weird. I would say the first 2 games of that winning streak, we won in dramatic fashion. Those 2 games were unbelievable. I tell everybody all the time, I have never been in a game like I have been in Marietta, and obviously to have the one before that, Ohio North, those games were unbelievable. And then we've won in different ways. In every single game, especially the last 2 at home, where I thought this week, I thought our defense really stepped up from obviously the last time we were out on the field. Did some really good things. Obviously, you mentioned the stats with limited Otterbein in the passing game and running game and causing turnovers. I thought our special teams played really well. I thought offensively we did some good things the first half and kind of let our foot off the gas in the second half. And I think, too, I talked to the team today, we're -5 in turnovers margin. We need to get that in the pluses. And defensively, we need to cause more turnovers. Offensively, we need to do a better job of taking care of the ball. And I think that could help us, obviously, going down this home stretch. So we have a big opponents in front of us now with Capital going on the road. It's never easy going on the road in the OAC. We got to have a great week of preparation, a great week for us. And we need to put everything together. We have not done that yet. We've not put 60 minutes together. We need to make sure we start doing that down this home stretch.
You mentioned that the defense has picked it up as of late. One of the young athletes that we'll be talking to later today, Dillon O'Donoghue. What have you seen from Dillon, and how has he stepped up his play this year for the Yellow Jackets?
First of all, Dillon O'Donoghue is a great young man. He's a pleasure to coach. He's obviously last year he set the tone for us on the defense side of the ball. He's a leader, a guy that does it by example, a guy that I thought this game he's starting to hit his stride down the stretch, and he played really, really well. And we had multiple guys play well on defense, and he was definitely one of them. Anthony Kendall was another one. Jordan Smith, Frank Sukop. There's multiple guys that played well on defense. And Dillon's a catalyst on the defense side of the ball. a guy that's really done some great things over the last couple of years.
Dillon had one of the 4 sacks that your defense registered. That pass rush was really coming up big at critical times, especially late in that second half. What did you see on film that maybe allowed you and the other coaches to put your guys in position to make those plays?
I would say for us, I knew we had to be. I wanted to be more aggressive against Otterbein. I knew the quarterbacks too. I didn't want them to get comfortable in the pocket, and I thought our defensive front 7 did a good job. I thought we brought some heat in different situations that helped us, and I thought we did some good things of mixing it up and dropping 8. I thought we did a really good job on the back end of playing some man-to-man coverage, locking onto those guys, and we had a good mix of all that. And when you put pressure on the quarterback and you get them nervous and jittery back there, on top of playing some good man-to-man and guys playing in their zones and not letting them get comfortable, offenses have a hard time, and they had a hard time. Otterbein did.
The defensive line maybe doesn't get the credit that it deserves. Really, on any team, that's not just a Yellow Jacket thing. That's just across.
Right.
They play the unsexy position, if you will. But you have some young men up front that really give you a good effort every time out and allow you to have the success, allow the linebackers to have the success that they do. What can you say about those guys? Guys like Hasim Rashid, R.J. Pegues, Jordan Smith, Frank Sukup, and all the guys up front.
It's kind of like the offense line, when they do all the dirty work and not one really mentions their name until they jump off sides or gets a penalty.
Yeah, that's true.
And you said their names, obviously, Hasim Rashid, Frank Sukup, Devon Slocum, Pegues, Jordan Smith, Caden Van Court, all those guys, they play extremely hard. They really got after this. I talk about owning the combat zone, owning the trenches, and those guys did that this past week. And sometimes they get unnoticed until they do something bad, but they really did a great job, and I was really proud of them this past week.
Yeah, they had some big shoes to fill with some of the graduation losses that you had last year, but how do you think they've really stepped up and filled those roles?
I think they have. I think, like I said, especially of recent, I said the guys are starting to get into their stride. These last couple of games and getting comfortable where everybody's at. I think that definitely helps. And I said it's time to these next 3 games to keep following the process and keep getting better for us.
It was a special day offensively for John Murray Jr. Not the biggest yardage total of his career, but he scored twice and put his name at the top of yet another record list here at Baldwin-Wallace. At this point, does anything that this young man accomplish surprise you?
No, not at all. And it's a credit to him. Obviously, all the hard work he's put in. Obviously at BW, he's obviously a humble young man. Obviously with the offensive line, everybody had that blocks for him over the last 4 years that he's played here at BW, and obviously from the receivers, offensive line, tight ends, everybody. And he gives credit to all those guys. But and I talked to him today. It's funny, we were talking about just enjoying the last 3 weeks. To enjoy that moment of having the most touchdowns and these next 3 weeks with your teammates and with your coaches, because these next 3 weeks are going to fly by. I can't believe it's going into the 8th week of the season. It's going by fast.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Once that first game comes, they just keep on coming after that. But looking at your relationship specifically with John, you've been here for his entire career. You were on this journey with him. You saw him get injured his senior year of high school. You stuck with him on the recruiting trail, though. What's it been like to be a part of his journey, and what made you believe in him even when he was hurt?
First of all, when I first met him, he had that smile, that passion for the great game of football, and a young man that just wanted a chance and an opportunity. And I wanted to make sure I gave that to him. I wasn't going to beat down in the dumps because he tore his ACL. I wanted to stick by him. Obviously, he's facing a little adversity, and I wanted to show him that, hey, I'm going to be there for him through that adversity. And he stuck with me. I stuck with him during this whole journey. And it's been unbelievable. The things he's accomplished, and obviously the different teams that he's been a part of, the leader he is on campus, on the football team. Everybody knows John Murray Jr. Yeah. And I think it's credit to him. And just his maturation process over the years, going from the young man he was when he first started to that grown man he is today. Obviously, it's neat to see him become the man he is now. I know he's going to be set up for a huge success down the road. I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, if he attacks life like he attacks football, there's no question that John Murray Jr. is going to be a
No
successful
doubt about
person. Taking a deeper look at that win over Otterbein, you held a nearly 7-minute advantage in time of possession. How much of that was attributable to the offensive line and what they were able to accomplish in those trenches? Like you said, doing that dirty work.
I think offensive line did a great job. I'll start with George Newcomb and those guys, Nick Messenger. Starts up front with those guys. But also I think, too, getting him turnovers, keep getting the ball back to the offense. I thought a huge special teams play was when Connor Miller recovered the fumble recovery on the 5-yard line. Our offense gets the ball back and we put it in the end zone. But I thought our special teams, Dillon O'Donoghue did a great job of flipping the field, and I thought our kickoff team did a great job. And giving the ball to the offense, constantly giving that ball back to them, eventually the dam will break, and obviously they're going to have a lot of success on the football field.
One of the things you look at that stands out is 5 of 15 on third down. Obviously you want that number a little bit higher, but one thing that was really good was the fact that you went for it on 4 fourth downs and you were successful each time. What gave you the confidence to make those calls, and how happy were you with the execution of those plays?
Oh, I thought fourth down, obviously we did an unbelievable job. So obviously when you said 5 for 15, I look at it as 9 for 19 because of you add those to the mix, to be able to complete that. I thought our offense, I had faith in them. So we were in the I think the field position to be able to do that. And I felt those guys were going to obviously execute at a high level, and they did.
So the one other concerning part about the offense was the 3 interceptions, one of which got returned for a 97-yard touchdown. How do you clean up those mistakes? Is it just a line of sight thing?
No, I just think it was all of it, just to be able to – we talked about taking care of the ball, being able to be smart with it, make the easy throw. And obviously, just with taking care of ball, if you're obviously when you're a running back, all that type of stuff, making sure you're doing it defensively when you have opportunities to get that interception or fumble, to make sure you do it. And I think for us, as an offense, just making sure you're taking care of the ball, do the easy things. And I think the rest of it will open up all the other big things we're looking for.
So after the win against Otterbein, brings the homestand, the brief 2-game homestand to an end. Now you go on the road for 2 weeks, starting with Capital, and you guys have been road warriors all year, so this is nothing new for you. But you go in to Capital. They're 0-7 overall, 0-6 in the Ohio Athletic Conference. What have you seen from the comments on film, and how do you get the team to kind of look past that record, because numbers can be deceiving?
First of all, I set the tone today. I think, I tell them all the time, we have no room to talk about it. Us. We have to worry about us. Can't worry about their record. If it's 0-6, 0-7, it does not matter to us. We got to worry about us and reaching our full potential as a football team. And it's all about the process. We got to have a great week of practice this week. We're facing 2 ex-coaches that coached with me, Coach Brian Foose and Joe Nemeth. Obviously, it adds a little bit more spice to the game, too. Obviously, them coaching on Coach Foose being the head coach, and obviously Joe Nemeth being on the staff. It adds a little bit more spice to it because they've been here at BW. So having that, obviously, there's little extra incentives to the matchup and us taking care of us. It's hard to win on the road. We'll be able to go down on the road, playing Capital, and playing to our full potential as a football team, offensively, defensively, and special teams.
You mentioned it adds a little spice to the game, knowing their coaching staff and having them know you as well. Yeah. But does it force you to really change up anything with your play calling and philosophy?
It's about throwing a wrinkle in here and there, obviously, to keep teams off, 100 toes. Obviously, they know me, I know them. Obviously, being at practice and stuff like that. So being able to do little things like that to help keep them on their toes, what we do offensively, defensively, and special teams.
The health of the team, everybody's in pretty good shape?
Pretty good, yeah, pretty good shape. I think our guys are – you get to that stage in the season where practice are a little bit shorter and stuff like that, try to keep guys fresh. And obviously, for the most part, our teams are pretty healthy.
Well, Coach, thank you very much for the time. I always appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Congrats on the win against Otterbein. Good luck at Capital this week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on.
That's head football coach Jim Hilvert of the Baldwin-Wallace Yellow Jackets. And now we're going to switch things over and talk to one of Hilvert's top defensive players. That is linebacker Dillon O'Donoghue. Dillon, thank you very much for joining us here on the BW Athletics Roadshow. Pleasure to talk with you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
First and foremost, congratulations on the victory over Otterbein. It brings the win streak to 4 straight games.
Yep.
How's everybody feeling and enjoying that win streak?
Good, yeah. It's a 4-game win streak. The locker room, everybody's happy and excited. The way we're playing, especially, too, because at the beginning of the year, didn't start exactly the way we wanted it to. But now that all of us are playing like we know how we're capable of playing, everyone's just really excited, and we all want to finish the rest of the season strong.
What do you think was the turning point that got everybody's attention to say, hey, we're good on paper, but we need to start showing it on Saturdays?
I think just all 3 phases of the game. I think at the beginning of the season we were getting ahead of ourselves, not taking it one game at a time, looking ahead. I think after that 3rd game is when we finally started to realize, like, if we just do our job, play for each other, we can be a very dangerous team. And I think after that 3rd game, starting to get on the win streak is when we found out we're a dangerous team if everybody does their job and plays for each other.
Talk about trying to build up that familial bond is what you're seemingly describing to me is you want to be that family where you can trust the guy next to you, the guy in front of you, the guy behind you.
Right.
How long does it take to build that up, and how was this team able to do it pretty much midstream when you're in the middle of a season and you just had the rough start that you talk about?
Right. Well, obviously in camp, everybody's grinding it out. That's when camp, a lot of guys fall off. You kind of figure out who wants to be there and who doesn't want to be there. But I think after the first 3 games is when guys started to finally hold each other accountable, cared about, like, who was going to the lifts, if there were people missing meetings, missing lifts, not showing up to practices, being late. It's finally in that time of the season when guys started holding each other more accountable than we did at the beginning of the year and realizing if we don't, take this one game at a time and take it seriously day in and day out, whether that's on or off the field, then this season could go not the way we wanted it to. And I think after the rough start is when we finally started to realize, like, the ability to change this season is in our hands, not the coaches. The coaches can tell us everything, but it's up to us. So I think after that 3 games, finally understanding that is what caused the turning point and got this win streak going.
And taking a look back at the week that was for you, you tally 6 tackles, you had a sack, a fumble recovery, and a pass breakup. You did a little bit of everything against Otterbein.
Thanks.
How tired were you, and what allowed you to have that success?
After the game, I was pretty exhausted. It was a hard-fought game, but for me, it's just doing my job. In the few games prior to Otterbein, didn't have standout stats, but finally in Otterbein I continued to do my job. They ran the ball my way, threw the ball my way, and like Coach Hilvert says, when you just do your job, the big plays will happen. And I'm happy that this past game, especially homecoming, I had a lot of family there, that I was able to perform my job well and make some plays.
Nice. How did it feel to share the co-defensive player of the game award with Anthony Kendall, who had 2 interceptions?
It was awesome. AK is a baller, so being able to celebrate that award with him was pretty cool, and John winning offense was awesome, especially too because me and all my other teammates, we put in a lot of hard work in the off season over the summertime, so being able to receive an award like that after a hard-fought game and after a win means a lot to me because I feel like my hard work is getting some credit.
Yeah, and it's becoming very noticed that you are making plays in all facets of the game, so congratulations to you on that. The defense as a whole just gave up 1 touchdown against Otterbein. How were you able to limit their offense and hold their quarterback to just 90 yards passing?
Again, just everybody doing their jobs, diving heavy into the scouting report. We, the coaches, and defensively and special teams, and I know offensively they do it too, just focusing on scouting report, watching film, and then, like I said earlier, everybody just doing their job and believing in each other. We got off to a great start against Otterbein. Guys making plays, doing what they're supposed to do, and I think when everybody's on the same page, not being unselfish and doing their job is when big things happen.
How much confidence did you get as a defense from getting the turnover so early in the game, just like you had done on special teams so earlier in the season? You get that turnover so early, you cash it in for a touchdown. It's got to build your confidence.
Oh, yeah, especially. It's huge. I mean, when you start a game off strong, it just, sets the standard for the rest of the game, and guys are just knowing that we're capable of, beating these teams. So getting off to a strong start is very big for our football team. One thing, though, we got to make sure we do in the next 3 weeks is being able to close games out. Like Coach Hilvert said, we have the ability to close out a lot of games early and put teams away. We haven't done that particularly in these past few games. So being able to play 4 quarters is a big part of our team that we need to work on.
What goes into accomplishing that? What do you have to get done for that to happen, to have that complete effort?
Yeah, just playing 60 minutes and not expecting other people to make plays, just doing what you're supposed to do no matter the situation. If you're thrown in there on a short drive or if there's a turnover and we have to go right back out onto the field, just being able to have that same mentality of wanting to beat your opponent no matter what quarter it is or how much time's left.
Yeah. How much extra film study and work did you put in over the last week to prepare for Otterbein after the defense got caught off guard with some trick plays against Muskingum?
Yeah, so I obviously, we go over the scouting report early in the week, and then myself and I know a bunch of other guys on defense go over the scouting report on our own. I usually like to go over it at nighttime, usually every night before, just to get an idea of what this team's doing. The coaches do a great job of giving us an in-depth report on the guys we're playing, what their style is. I know Coach Miller and Coach Nickel, Coach Nelly, all the coaches, they do a good job of evaluating each player on the team, giving us an insight of what their weaknesses are and how to prepare for them. So thankful for their coaching on that.
In addition to being a standout football player, you're also a criminal justice major here at Baldwin Wallace. What attracted you to that major, and what are you hoping to do with it once you hang up the cleats?
So really, I wasn't interested in that career as a kid, to be honest with you. It was really when I got to high school is when I finally started to realize that I kind of respected guys of law enforcement. So I really wanted to do that when I got to college. The BW criminal justice program's phenomenal. A lot of football players are a part of it. And then after my football season comes to an end, I'm leaning towards being a Pennsylvania State Trooper. Still up in the air right now, but PA State Trooper or Secret Service is kind of where I'm at. But it all goes back to just the respect that a lot of those guys get. I want to be able to wake up every day and provide change in the world.
Are you scheduled to graduate in the spring?
Yeah, May.
Are you going to use that extra year of eligibility, or is that up in the air right now?
That is up in the air. I have not decided yet. To be determined.
What do you think is going to be the determining factor in that?
Just see how I feel after the season. A lot of guys I talk to that say they're done after 4 years, they realize that they love the game a lot and they want to come back for that 5th year. As it stands right now, I'm going to be graduating in May and finishing all my criminal justice requirements, but I'm definitely going to see in the off season how I feel both physically and mentally, and I'm going to decide in the off season what I want to do. I definitely have not ruled it out yet because playing for BW football is a blessing, and playing for Coach Hilvert and the coaching staff is awesome. I've been a part of football programs not as successful and with this kind of tradition that BW football has, so playing for Coach Hilvert, it's just awesome.
Taking a look at the week ahead, you get Capital, much like Coach Hilvert. I'm going to ask you, how do you get everybody, as a leader of the defense, how do you get everybody's attention to say, hey, let's not look at their record and overlook them because we got Heidelberg and Mount Union after that. But how do you come out in those meetings and just say, hey, look, we know what the record is. It's not great, but we still have to handle our business and do what we do best.
Yeah, it goes in practice. I give our entire team credit ever since camp and this late into the season. We compete in practice every single day. And obviously Capital's records doesn't look good on paper, but this is OAC football. Anything can happen. So I think this week, having a great week of practice, going 100%, like we've been doing all year, is going to contribute to our game Saturday. And it's why we've been able to contribute so well these past few weeks, is because it's late into the season, but we still have competed just as hard in practice now as we have since camp started. So continuing just that 100% mentality.
As a linebacker, you have to sometimes rely on the defensive line to open up those holes for you to make those plays. What can you say about the big guys up front that maybe don't get the recognition that they deserve, but make your job a little bit easier and have make sure that you're facing less bodies when you're coming shooting through the line of scrimmage.
All of them are doing a phenomenal job. I mean, we had a lot of graduates last year, my junior year, that left the D-line, but all the guys that have filled those roles have been doing a great job. I mean, D-line, they do heavy substitutions, but all of them, I give them so much credit. Every single one of them know what they're doing when they get in and when their number's called. Like, I have different guys lined up at stud end on my side, but all of them know what they're doing, and for me it's just comforting because I trust every single guy out there on the D-line, no matter who it is.
And talk about the guys behind you as well. To do your job effectively, you have to trust that not only the guys in front of you are going to open up those holes, but the guys behind you, they're going to be able to do their job, hold up on the end, in pass coverage, and then if it's a run play, they need to get into the gap and plug things up.
Fortunately for me, I am playing with Jake Hill and Robbie Williamson, two guys I shared the strong side of the field with last year, so I have great trust in those guys. They're both phenomenal football players. And Brandon Seawright and AK on the other side, those guys are veterans. All of them know what they're doing, and having a experienced secondary is nice for myself and the other guys on the field because, you know, it's just we've established that trust, and playing with guys on the field like that, it's just awesome knowing that, you know, they know what they're doing and that they're going to get involved in the plays as best they can.
You mentioned Robbie Williamson, and this is a young man who's had his nose around the football the entire season, and he's almost had a couple of interceptions. How good would it be for the defense to see Robbie get one and then kind of like lift everybody up?
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I know he's come close these past few games. I know he's going to get one sooner than later for sure. He's a great corner. And I know he's going to get one soon. So it would be awesome, you know, if it would be this Saturday or the Saturday after that, because anytime the defense gets a turnover, or a sack, it's just so energizing to us being able to make plays.
Yeah, the sacks were something that really stood out from your defensive performance as a whole. You had 4 as a team for 35 lost yards. They came at big times in the game against Otterbein. What allowed you to have that success in terms of rushing the passer, and how is that translatable to what you have coming up this week against Capital?
Yeah, so for myself, one of the things Coach Hilvert told me before I blitz, or honestly in any kind of coverage, is just disguise. Don't necessarily show the blitz right away, and that was something that I've been working on in practice. So that allowed for me to get my sack in the game last Saturday, and the other linebackers in D-line too. It's just, you know, filling the gap you're supposed to, going 100%, and knowing who you have on certain read options and other things like that. Well, and, yeah, obviously, like you said, Capital, big thing again is just, you know, do our job. If you're supposed to blitz, give switch calls when needed, and just go 100 miles an hour.
Well, Dillon, thank you very much for the time tonight. Thank you for all the work that you put in for the Yellow Jackets. Thanks. And best of luck the rest of this season and in the future.
Appreciate it.
All right, Dillon O'Donoghue, star linebacker for the Baldwin-Wallace Yellow Jackets. What he said, go Jackets. I will ditto that. Before we get to our final interview of the evening, we're going to take a look back at the week that was in some of the other sports as well after talking about football. Taking a look at the men's soccer team last Wednesday, the Baldwin-Wallace men's soccer team defeated Heidelberg University in an Ohio Athletic Conference game by a final count of 5-0 on the Trestle Field inside the George Finney Stadium. With the victory, BW improved to 11-3-2 overall. They are 2-3-1 in Ohio Athletic Conference play. 5 different players tallied against Heidelberg. Junior forward Michael Tusick recorded 2 assists. Sophomore goalkeeper Zoltan Nagy and senior goalkeeper Nolan Kellogg each had 1 save in the victory. Then the Baldwin-Wallace University men's soccer team fell to Otterbein in an OAC match down at Memorial Stadium by a final score of 4-0. That dropped the Yellow Jackets to 11-4-2 overall, 2-4-1 in OAC play. Nagy recorded 9 saves in the setback. The Baldwin-Wallace University women's soccer team defeated Heidelberg in an Ohio Athletic Conference match by a 4-0 count at the Hidden Valley Soccer Complex last Wednesday to improve to 9-6 overall and 4-2 in Ohio Athletic Conference play. 4 different players tallied for the Yellow Jackets. Freshman midfielder Mary Litzinger and sophomore Ella Barth each contributed assists, and sophomore goalkeeper Katie Scott recorded 6 saves. In the first half of that game, just 3 minutes into the first half, I should say, senior forward Casey Goluboff from Valley Forge High School in Parma Heights picked up a rebound and placed it low into the net. And then at the 30-31 mark, senior academic All-OAC midfielder Maddie Farrell added a second goal when Litzinger crossed the ball into the box and Farrell finished it low into the net. Just before halftime, freshman forward Sydney Mudge scored a third goal for the Yellow Jackets on an assist from Barth, and then Barth tallied the fourth goal of the game for the Yellow Jackets last Saturday. The women's soccer team fell to Otterbein by a final score of 2-0 on the Trestle Field inside the George Finney Stadium. Katie Scott recorded 8 saves in the setback. Taking a look at the Baldwin Wallace volleyball team, they faced a tough, hard loss in a 5-set match with Heidelberg University at the Ersprung Gymnasium inside the Lou Higgins Center last Wednesday night. The Yellow Jackets fell to 11-10 overall and 2-4 in OAC play, while the Student Princes improved to 7-16 overall and 2-4 in OAC play. Heidelberg won that match by a final count of 25-23, 22-25, 25-23, 18-25, and 14-16. Junior setter Olivia Zawadzki totaled 46 assists with 9 kills on no errors. She added 8 digs and 4 service aces. Senior academic All-OAC middle hitter Isa Luciano tallied 10 kills on the night and added 4 digs. Sophomore All-OAC libero Lauren Gardner finished with 21 digs, 7 assists, and 3 aces. Sophomore right side hitter Allison Weiner led the team with 15 kills and added 4 digs. Then on Saturday, the Yellow Jackets traveled to Westerville and took on the number 18 nationally ranked Otterbein Cardinals in an Ohio Athletic Conference match. The Yellow Jackets fell to the Cardinals in straight sets by scores of 25-9, 25-18, and 25-16. Freshman libero Jamie Snell recorded a career-high 9 digs. Sam Ruetta led BW's attack with 8 kills. She also added 8 digs in the contest. Freshman defensive specialist Paige Contras added 8 digs, while Zawadzki dished out 15 assists for the Yellow Jackets. Luciano finished with 3 kills, 4 digs, and 2 blocks, while sophomore right side hitter Allison Weiner totaled 3 kills and 2 blocks. The Baldwin Wallace University men's swimming and diving team claimed 2 victories in the 2-day BW fall duels at the BW Natatorium inside the Lou Higgins Center last Friday and Saturday. BW's men's team improved to 3-0 overall. They won 13 out of 15 events, defeating Hiram by a final score of 258 to 73 and Bluffton University 283 to 14. On day 1, sophomore Tommy McCreary won the 100-yard breaststroke and a 200-yard butterfly. Freshman Nolan Zook won the 100-meter backstroke. Sophomore Austin Kingsley finished second in the 100-yard freestyle. Sophomore Jason Tafoya won the 200-meter individual medley. And sophomore Gannon Mellett won the 1,000-yard freestyle. BW's relay team in the 200-yard medley, which featured Zook, Alec McNeil, McCreary, and Mason Kumin, won their event. And the 400-yard freestyle team also won their relay event. On day 2, Kumin won the 50-yard freestyle. Olsovsky won the 200-yard freestyle. McCreary won the 100-yard butterfly. Kingsley won the 400-yard individual medley and 500-yard freestyle events. Zook won the 200-yard backstroke, and McNeil placed second in the 200-yard breaststroke. The Baldwin Wallace University women's swimming and diving team claimed victories in the 2-day BW fall duels as well, as they won all 15 of their events, defeating Hiram by a final score of 256 to 58, Bluffton University 259 to 31, and Franciscan University of Steubenville 256 to 58. On day 1, the Yellow Jackets were led by junior Tia Reed, who won the 100-yard breaststroke. Sophomore All-OAC Mallory Darndorfer won the 100-yard backstroke and 200-yard individual medley. Senior Aubrey Siren won the 200-yard butterfly. Sophomore Athena Pantoa won the 100-yard freestyle. And senior All-OAC performer Bello Ratino won the 1,000-yard freestyle. The 200-yard relay teams, 200-yard medley relay team, and 400-yard freestyle teams both won their events. On day 2, Ratino won the 500-yard freestyle. Dondorfer won the 200-yard backstroke, and a 400-yard individual medley. Freshman Rachel Fibby won the 200-yard freestyle. Siren won the 100-yard butterfly, and Reed won the 200-yard breaststroke. Relay teams in the 200-yard medley relay and 200-yard freestyle were also victorious. And for the first time in her career, Baldwin Wallace sophomore All-OAC performer Mallory Dondorfer from Menor was selected as the OAC Swimmer of the Week. Dondorfer earns the weekly honor after finishing first in the 7 events in which she competed and helping her team to victories over Hiram, Bluffton, and Franciscan University of Steubenville. She is the reigning Ohio Athletic Conference champion in the 200-yard individual medley and 200-yard backstroke. She has a career-best 100-yard backstroke time of 1 minute, 0.17 seconds, career-best 200-yard backstroke in a time of 2:09:13, and a career-best 200-yard individual medley time of 2 minutes, 11.29 seconds. That completes the look at the week that was, and now we're going to welcome in our final interview of the evening. That would be a cross-country standout, Cassie Kolonchuk. Cassie, thank you very much for joining me. Again, thank you very much for taking the time. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
First and foremost, Cassie, how has your season gone for the Yellow Jackets?
It's been going pretty well. Being a junior, but this is only our second year of collegiate cross country, definitely still adjusting to it. But overall, it's been a season with some good races, some PRs, and training's been going really well.
Talk about the start to your career. Obviously not the start that you were hoping for with the pandemic wiping out the 2020 fall season. What did you do to stay in shape during that time, and how difficult was it to know that you had to train but there wasn't a competition for you to push yourself toward?
Yeah, so I actually have a really unique start to cross country. I played 13 years of soccer, so I did not run cross country in high school, but had background as a distance runner in track. So coming collegiately, I knew I wanted to run cross country. So then I started training, and then COVID, senior year, took away track. We continued training for cross country. That would have been, summer 2020?
Yep.
Yeah, summer 2020. And then halfway through, we found out that competitions were put on hold until the spring, or until it would be January 2021. But continued to train. So getting to compete at the beginning of last year, it was really new. We had a really young team, as we had a lot of freshmen coming in, and my sophomore class had never competed collegiately. So that was definitely interesting to get to train through the pandemic, but then once we were actually able to compete, we had a really young team and getting to learn how to race collegiately all together.
How excited were you for that opportunity to compete when it did finally arrive again?
Really excited. It had been a really long time since we had raced and competed, and even though we were wearing masks during practice, it was so fun to finally get onto the track because that was our first race in 2021 and actually get to compete against other people other than ourselves.
Yeah, so you mentioned it a little bit that you played a long time in soccer. You were also swimming and diving. You did a little bit of track in high school as well. What was it about cross country and track and field that you wanted to continue doing at the collegiate level, and how much confidence does it take to basically try a new sport? Even though you have the distance running experience in track, it's a little different on the cross country course.
Yeah, so I just love the challenge of distance running. Being a part of a team, but it also being an individual component where, I can push myself and I have times, but I'm also working for a greater cause of a team was really exciting to me. And seeing later on in my track career, I got to try a steeplechase race in high school, which is really uncommon for Ohio distance runners. That was a lot of fun, and I saw it as a challenge, and I was like, okay, if I actually train and I'm able to train year-round with running, how far can I go? And that challenge really excited me to be able to continue collegiately and train year-round for running.
What was it about BW that kind of brought you comfort in knowing that this was going to be a place where you could not only ply your trade on the cross-country course, but academically as well?
Yeah, so Coach Eby really made a big influence on me coming here. His excitement for all the potential I did have was something that drew me into the program, and what could be if I continued running. and also the academic side of things in the program here I really liked. I liked the team, and I love the feel of BW, and I really like everything about being here.
You're an exercise science major, correct?
Yep, and pre-allied health.
What are you hoping to pursue career-wise once you get done running here at BW?
Yeah, so my end career goal is to go to PT school. That's something I've wanted since middle school, and I've stuck with that career goal, and I love everything about the major, the hands-on, and finally being a junior and being able to apply some of the academics I've learned, I've really been enjoying recently.
Had you had experience being an athlete that's played for so long? Had you ever had an experience where you needed a physical therapy, and did that kind of help push you in that direction?
I've actually, knock on wood, been very fortunate, very fortunate.
I'll knock on wood for you. I don't want to put the broadcaster jinx on you.
Yeah, so when it comes to injuries, I've been very fortunate. I just like being around sports. I grew up with 3 siblings, and we were constantly at different sports games and around athletics all the time. And it's something I've really liked and just wanted to be involved in after high school in athletics.
What is it about, like, we see so many people who, after their careers are over, they want to stay around the sport in whatever capacity they can. Mine, it was broadcasting. I was nowhere near the athlete that anybody I've ever talked to on this program ever was, but I just wanted to be around that competitive environment. What was it about athletics that made you want to be a part of this long term, even after your playing days were over?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of friends, a lot of teammates who have gone through some really bad injuries and had to rehab, and I just like being able to help people stay and continue to do what they want to do. And with being PT, I'd love to be able to help rehab athletes back to being able to be successful on the field.
How hard is it to juggle the schedule of competing in cross country and track and field, which takes up both semesters, and have a pretty intense major like exercise science?
It is challenging. It's not easy. College has definitely taught me time management skills and how to utilize time outside of practice, because we do spend a lot of time practicing as well as in the academic field doing classes and shadowing hours and stuff. But it's definitely a life skill you need to know is how to balance and everything. And this has been a good opportunity, and I've been able to make a lot of connections and figure out scheduling and what works best for me.
Do you take classes in the summertime as well to kind of help ease the burden when you're in season?
Yeah, so I actually have taken a couple summer classes being a double major, and that's helped a ton. It has.
What's your other major?
So I'm exercise science and then pre-PT allied health.
Pre-PT,
Yep.
Okay. Do they kind of go hand in hand, or is it like easier that way, or is it a little bit more of a challenge because you're taking extra classes and extra responsibilities on?
Yeah, they overlap. I really do like to see the classes start to overlap though, and get to start applying things between both majors and get with the exercise science side of things a lot of the more athletic-based training and learning, creating exercise programs and stuff, but also the rehabilitation side and science side of the PT major.
Yeah, over the last month or so, you've been able to compete in a meet and then have 2 weeks off. Compete in a meet, have 2 weeks off. You're in the midst of that again, and you're gearing up for the Ohio Athletic Conference Championships. What have you done over the last 2 weeks since your last meet to kind of prepare yourself? And when do you start tapering down the physical workouts to make sure you're healthy to run on race day?
Yeah, so we taper a little bit. Mileage goes down a little bit. Our long runs in time go down a little bit. But for the most part, we do still train pretty hard. Last week was a pretty good training block. I'm really excited moving forward with that because we still have, after OACs, we still have regionals, which is still a couple weeks out and still building. But we definitely take it down a little bit going into conference to try to get ready.
I've always admired from afar the running athletes, that especially the distance runners, because it's in other sports you have timeouts, you have breaks in the action, you have offense, you have defense. In your sport, there are no timeouts. You have 25 minutes or less to run to the top of the leaderboard in cross country. How are you able to handle the mental aspect of that sport? I mean, obviously it's a grind physically, but mentally, is it just as difficult, if not more so?
Absolutely. Mental toughness is something we talk about all the time, and Coach places big emphasis on your mental game plan. What are you going to tell yourself when it starts to get hard? What are you going to tell yourself when it hurts? Because it's going to. There's never been a race where it's like, oh, this feels great. Like, the time is going to come where it does hurt, and coming up with race plans and knowing what you're going to tell yourself in those moments is something I look for, or I do before each meet.
So what does Cassie Kolonchuk tell herself in the middle of a run that may or may not be going well, but you know that you have some work to do to try and catch up?
Yeah, I like to look back on all the training I've done. With cross country, we've been training since late May, early June. You know, those workouts in June and July that, you know, it was hot, it was horrible. And those are things I try to rely back on, is like all the work I've put into where I'm at, and like all the potential I have and everything I've done to get to the point to where I'm at.
How hard is it to go on these long bus rides where you're traveling 3-4 hours sometimes, and you run for basically a half hour and then you get back on the bus? I mean, how difficult is it to kind of get yourself geared up? Like, what do you do on the bus to get yourself mentally prepared? Is there a certain playlist that you have? Like, what kind of music do you listen to get yourself ready?
I definitely listen to some pump-up jams. We have a couple playlists we like to listen to. I always have a course map on hand to look over the course and kind of plan out, okay, I know there's a hill here, or this is going to be fast, this is going to be slow, just to kind of visualize what we're going to run, where it's going to get tough, and, like, prepare for the unknowns, like what happens if this happens here, what happens if I fall here, stuff like that.
So the weather forecast was a little warmer last weekend. You didn't have a meet. This weekend it's supposed to be a little cooler. Do you like running in the cooler weather?
Depends how cool.
Yeah,
yes.
we're talking moderately cool,
Yeah.
not Ohio frigid, which comes in November and basically lasts till April.
Absolutely. Yeah, running in the cooler weather is so much better. I've always enjoyed, through all my sports, cooler weather. Rain makes it a lot more challenging when it comes to cross country and the footing and stuff, but cooler temperatures are usually pretty nice and make the meet go a little bit better.
You've run on a variety of different tracks. You've run on some golf courses. You've run on some cross country courses. What do you feel you like best, and what brings out the best in you?
Flat.
Fair
most
enough.
cross-country runners would agree with me, flat courses are nice. Running on golf courses is nice with the short grass, but each course is a different challenge, and it's fun to get to travel and try new courses and go new places.
I know football players sometimes have to wear different cleats if they're playing on grass versus turf. Do you have to do the same thing in cross country?
Yeah, so sometimes we'll change out the spikes. We have different length spikes, like 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, that we can change out based on the course, how the footing is, and that's stuff that we piece out during warm-up time, so we go out and feel it, and if we need to make adjustments there, or if it's super muddy, we can make adjustments to the spikes to get a little bit more traction.
Well, before I let you go, I have a few more questions. What's it like to team up with Hope Murphy and to kind of have her set the bar for the rest of the team?
Yeah, Hope's a really awesome runner and a really awesome teammate. It's really fun to get to watch her be successful and be a part of her team, and want to be successful with her. One of our big goals is to close the gap. That's something we talk about, close the gap, and getting to watch her train alongside her is really awesome.
What do you think's been the key to her success? I mean, she's basically won every invitational that she's competed in this year.
She works so hard. She does. She puts in the time, and she's really out there grinding and treating every workout, like giving it her all, and really putting in the effort.
The thing I've noticed about her and in talking to you as well is the humility, the humble approach to your sport. Despite having the success that you and Hope have had, you've maintained that humility. How do you keep that level head to keep driving yourself forward and help pushing your teammates forward as well?
Yeah, running is a sport where you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, and it's really the lows get low, but they make the highs better. So it's really enjoying the good times and using the hard times to, okay, we got to keep working. It was a bad workout, move on to the next and keep on working away to get closer to our goals.
So heading into the OAC Championships this weekend, how excited are you for that, and what can the Yellow Jacket fans expect out of this team?
Yeah, we're really excited. Like I said, cross-country training all summer. We look forward to this meet and postseason. We've had a great training block the last couple of weeks. The men's and women's teams have been stepping up and having some really good workouts and really good training, and we're ready for some big races if we let it happen. So it's starting to piece what we do in practice into performances and really competing out there.
Well, Cassie, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah,
it was a
thank you
pleasure
for having
talking
me.
with you. Best of luck down in New Concord in the OAC Championships hosted by Muskingum University.
Thank you.
That's standout cross-country runner Cassie Kolonchuk. And that'll wrap up the interview portions for tonight. And now we're going to look at the week ahead. And first and foremost, the BW football team is back in action on Saturday, October 29th, when it travels to Bexley for an Ohio Athletic Conference game against Capital University on Permort Field inside Burnlore Stadium at 1:30 p.m. The Yellow Jacket men's soccer team is back in action on Wednesday, October 26th, when they host OAC opponent Ohio Northern University. The match begins at 7 p.m. on the Trestle Field inside the George Finney Stadium. Then the Yellow Jackets end the regular season with their Senior Day celebration against Capital, again on the turf at Trestle Field. Kickoff for that game is slated for 2 p.m. The Yellow Jacket women's soccer team returns to action this Wednesday, October 26th, when they travel to Ohio Northern for an OAC contest, with kickoff set for 7 p.m. at Kersher Stadium in Ada. Then the Yellow Jackets end the regular season against Capital down at Bernlohr Stadium on Saturday night at 7 p.m. The Yellow Jacket women's volleyball team returns to the court Wednesday, October 26th, when they host Ohio Northern University in another Ohio Athletic Conference contest. First serve is scheduled for 7 p.m. inside the Ersprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center. Then the Yellow Jackets host Senior Day at Ersprung Gymnasium on Saturday afternoon, October 29th at 1 p.m. The Yellow Jackets swimming and diving teams return to the pool on Saturday, October 29th, when they travel to New York for non-conference meets against Buffalo State and Fredonia State in the Kissinger Pool. And the Baldwin-Wallace men's and women's cross-country teams will compete at the Ohio Athletic Conference Championships at Moorhead Farm in New Concord, Ohio. The event will be hosted by Muskingum University. That brings to an end episode 8 of the BW Athletics Roadshow. But before we get on out of here, I want to send out some thank yous. First and foremost to my guests, football coach Jim Hilvert, star linebacker Dillon O'Donoghue, and cross-country runner Cassie Kolonchuk. Thank you for joining me on today's program to talk some Yellow Jacket sports. Also, thank you to the athletic communications and athletic departments here at Baldwin-Wallace for all of their work in making this show possible. Thank you again to our gracious host here at Mike's Bar and Grill. And finally, to all of the Yellow Jacket fans here at Mike's Bar and Grill and those watching around the world, thank you for your constant support of BW Athletics. Until next time, I'm Matt Florjancic saying have a great night and go Jackets.